Hey guys, let me ask you a quick question. Is it important to have an integrator in your real estate investment business? My name's Jerry Green. If you guys would just take a minute, like my video here, subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. So let's just talk about this a little bit more. I mean, really, integrator, whatever you want to call it. So if we look at this here, I wrote this up on the board. I got integrator, COO, could be ops manager, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter. General manager, this is a title on things. But basically, you know, it took me a long time to figure this out. Okay, I guess that's what I'm really trying to say here is, it was funny, you know, when I first started in the business, you know, many moons ago, here I was out there, I was doing everything. And that's very normal for all of us. You know, we get out there and start in the real estate investment business, you know, in the business itself, we're grinding on things, we're doing everything. We seem to find out over time that a lot of times, especially individuals like myself, a lot of us find out that we are what we call like a visionary type person. I don't want to talk about that right now, but a lot of times what we do is we find out we are that particular type of person, that visionary that can see the big picture and we can create a bunch of ideas. But what we're not good at a lot of times is fully executing the plan. Okay, so we can bring all these ideas to the table, but we can't take it to the finish line a lot of times. I saw that over and over again, even in my own business. You know, I would go out and I'd create a lot of activity. I put a lot of deals together, things like that. I was really good at those type of things, but getting everything to the completion line sometimes was really tough. And really what I struggled with so much was all the stuff in between the starting line and the finish line, all those items in between. And that's where I really realized that I was missing the boat on this. And this was years ago. And I was just, you know, actually my wife and I were flying on the plane together. And we had been on a trip, and we were actually involved in another mastermind 2 years ago. And we were sitting there, and I remember she looked over to me and she says, you know, she goes, I think you really need to have an integrator. And I thought, I never thought about that. I said, well, I thought I was the best at that. I thought, you know, I'm the one that can create all this stuff. And she's, no, it's not about the creation of things. You know, she said to me, she goes, it's about the execution. And I said, I started understanding that, the execution from taking it from A to Z. And I thought, wow, that's true, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to start at A and I want to go to Z right away. And I expect it to all be done in 5 minutes. And I thought, holy cow. That I never thought of it that way. And then I realized I had to really start thinking about, start thinking about this and realize that this was a different way of thinking. Well, the interesting thing is I took it even deeper than that, and I started reading and started studying on things. And I remember reading the book Rocket Fuel, and I realized, I said, holy cow. I said, wait a minute, my mind works totally different than other individuals' minds out there. Now, there's a lot of people that are more like me, like a visionary type things, and there's a lot of people that are integrators too. But I realized that my mind works totally different. And so here I was all this time for many years trying to be in a position where I was trying to force myself to do these things that I would never do, like paperwork, making sure all that's being done, drawing out a complete process and all the moving parts, when otherwise I would just call somebody, hey, get it done. How come you're not done with that yet? I'm like, what, Jerry, I got to do this, I got to do this. But that's so simple. That was my whole line. I always thought that way. It's so simple. But I had started looking at it differently, guys. And like I say, it came up here that I had to realize that my mind worked differently than what an integrator's did. So when I started realizing that, guys, I started realizing really what does an integrator do? Well, the integrator's focus is really about the operational piece of the business, okay? Their job is to take your vision as a leader on things. If your position is more the visionary, or maybe you could be the integrator, but regardless, it's really that focus as the integrator to take the vision of things and to execute that vision on a high level, to make sure that if the business is functioning the way it should, that each component is working like it should, to make sure that the people are staying in line within the parameters you have set, that the accountability pieces are there, that you're measuring the results and reporting that back to the person as more of the CEO of the company or whoever that might be. And you know, what's interesting is you're going to find sometimes in business that you're going to have to play both roles, especially if you're in the position where you're not able to hire somebody as a COO yet or an ops manager. You might just turn around and be in a position where you might have to play both of these roles. And some people can do that. Some people are very good at that. But that's kind of a unique person that can do that. Very few can do both roles and do it well. So what I've learned is that I have to be in a position where I have to stay in my box, and then the integrator does their box. You know, and as I look over the years here, and I've had my integrator now, Ashley, which a lot of you probably have met. She's been with me going on 9 years now. And what's interesting is throughout this journey, and she's grown tremendously, guys, in her ability to execute on a high level as an integrator. But when she really started working the business over and over again, she became stronger in every area. And so what I want to share on this is on a deeper level. A lot of times I get students that come to me and they'll say, hey, look, Jerry, I want to hire somebody to be my integrator. And they say, I want to bring, you know, I'm looking at bringing somebody else in from the outside. Let me just tell you, first of all, if you have the opportunity and you have somebody that you can bring from the inside, that somebody is already on your team, highly, highly recommend that first, because they already have the experience, they have the knowledge, and really they have the working knowledge of the business. They understand the flow of the business. But if you do have to take it outside of things, be careful of that, okay? Because there's a lot of people that understand overall operations. They understand like HR and all those type of things, but they don't understand is your business and how it functions. Our business is different, okay? But it'd be you know, if they were going to any other business, it'd be no different on things. You've got to make sure that they understand your business. It can work, but you've got to bring them in a position before they jump in to running your organization. They got to come in and understand how it flows and how it works all the way through from beginning to end, over and over again. They got to understand that production process. Then they can start coming in and actually working that position as COO. Because I've seen this happen way too many times to students, so they hire somebody outside of being involved in real estate, and they come in and they start working things, but what happens is the team kind of eats them alive, and they also, I've seen a lot of them fail because they don't understand the real estate side of things. They don't understand the business model. They don't understand how to evaluate deals and help the team and support them in that side of things. So you got to make sure they understand the true operations of the business and how it functions. And the best thing you do is just completely bring them in and let them emerge into the training before you put them in a position of running your company. They have to understand the operational side first. That is a huge tip, guys, right there. If you do that, you'll see that being successful. Otherwise, failure is definitely going to happen. I got a buddy of mine that brought a COO in, didn't have any training whatsoever in the real estate side, brought him in to run things for them and thought it would just work that way. This gentleman was being paid big money, and within about 6 months, my buddy had to fire him. And the gentleman that he was going, you know, the CEO, he was sitting down to go over everything. I wanted to fire him, just started crying. And, you know, here he was a grown man crying, but he was being fired from being a CEO. But what it came down to, he didn't understand the business. And that really comes down to our job as a leader to make sure. So a CEO is a huge component to your business. And I'll tell you, one of the final things here as we wrap up, that is absolutely the best investment I've ever made into bringing like Ashley in as my COO. That's changed my business model. It's changed the production process, and it's allowed me to focus on the most important things I need to be doing. But even more important on that, it's allowed me to allow my unique abilities come out and let my mind work the way it works. It might be crazy, but it works in a whole different level than the way her mind works. And I can tell you, once you understand that, that way you have the yin and the yang, it's unlimited what you can do. All right, guys, I hope this helps out. Make sure you subscribe here if you haven't already done that. Like my video. I'll catch you on the next one.